This is Kim Rao from BlueSnap. Thanks for joining us. We are here to talk about the critical tactics accelerating commerce. This is our third in a webinar series. Today we're going to talk about the 5 must-have payment features for B2C. And I am here with Mike Marsassi. Morning, Mike.
Morning, Kim. Morning, good afternoon, everyone.
So Mike is the product manager at BlueSnap. I am the director of marketing communications, and we're excited to talk to you this morning about how you can accelerate commerce for B2C. So we're going to try to get you out of here in about 20-25 minutes. We will talk about the market briefly, dive into the 5 specific things for selling B2C, and then we'll talk a little bit about a better payment platform to help sell B2C. And then we'll finish with Q&A. If you have questions throughout, go ahead and put them in the chat. We'll kind of keep track of them and talk about them at the end. We're also recording the webinar this morning, and I'll look to send those around to everybody by the end of the week. So in case you want to share it or want to look at it again. So just a quick who we are, who BlueSnap is. So we are a better way to accept payments in 180 countries. We are based in Boston. Mike and I are in Boston today. It's gorgeous, finally. Nice spring day. We have offices in Silicon Valley, Tel Aviv, and London, and we have thousands of customers. And actually, we're super excited to announce that we just received the Best E-commerce Platform Gateway Award last week at the CMP Awards, so super excited about that. So Mike's going to dive into the market for us.
All right, let's start off just talking about where the payments market is going. And by the market, we really mean what all of you are doing in terms of adopting new business models, moving into new channels, accepting payments in innovative ways, everything you're doing to keep your customers happy. So the electronic payments market is measured in trillions, but there are still pockets of that market that are growing incredibly fast, 30% or more year over year. So when you look at the B2C side of the market, still trillions of dollars. And then when we dig into it, we see that the growth is really being fueled by 2 things: cross-border commerce, as shoppers are getting more comfortable buying from businesses, overseas, globally. Really, whenever they find a product, they're going to be comfortable buying it. And then also on mobile, and the smartphone is aiding in that discovery of products globally, making it easier for merchants to reach consumers around the world that might not have even had an internet connection before their first smartphone. So if we think of that mobile and cross-border as context for how it's shaping what payment providers are doing, we've noticed 3 significant, we call them generations of payments platforms. The first, e-commerce, starting out in the mid-90s, this idea called the payment gateway sprung up that provided basic connectivity for card processing. You want to attach your website to a merchant account and accept credit cards. And that was a big innovation for bringing payments to the beginnings of the internet. Then, later in the first decade of the 2000s, there was a big innovation that combines the merchant account and the payment gateway into a single service. This led the introduction of developer-friendly payment solutions with REST-style APIs, made it really easy for even startups to quickly get up and running accepting payments. But for the most part, these APIs were used for regional processing. The first innovators were focused in the United States, then some others popping up in Canada and Western Europe that had solutions for accepting payments basically in whatever region that provider was located. And in the last year or so, we're starting to see another shift around the theme of accelerating commerce and delivering payments as a service, which is really about taking this startup-friendly API mentality and expanding that to global payment processing needs. And to do that, it's bundling in functionality for cross-border payments, mobile payments, fraud prevention, and a number of other services. With that as background, this third generation of payment platforms, let's jump into the top 5 must-haves. So number one is being able to accept payments in multiple channels. So obviously mobile is the fastest growth channel for payments, but it's still important to have a customer-friendly payment solution for traditional online checkout, for taking orders over the phone, for sending invoices if you're sending B2C invoices, which many merchants do, and making sure that all of those channels have a consistent user experience is really important. Number 2, global acquiring banks. So even if you don't think you have an international customer base, there might be some cross-border transactions that you're not realizing. So one way to understand if that's happening is looking at your transaction data and seeing how many credit cards are issued from international banks. So even if your customers happen to be located in the U.S., from a transaction processing standpoint, it's really a cross-border transaction. And to do that successfully requires a network of global acquiring banks that will route each transaction to the acquirer in a region that is most likely to get a successful transaction. Number 3, sticking with the international theme, global payment types and currencies. Your conversion rates will absolutely see a lift if you start allowing customers to pay in their local currency and offering payment types specific for their region. So not just limiting yourself to cards and maybe ACH, but having the wallets and the bank transfers like SEPA and so forth that are much more common in locations outside the United States. And then for fraud prevention and chargeback management, with electronic payments growing 30% plus a year, fraud is coming along with it, unfortunately, and it's really important to make sure that you're protected from chargebacks and fraud. And then what ties all these 4 things together is payment analytics, being confident that you can measure the value you're getting from your payment platform and making sure that it's working as promised. So we'll go into a little bit more detail on each of the top 5. So looking at online and mobile checkout together, again, really important to make sure that your customer experience is the same regardless of the channel that your customers are using. You want to make sure that you've optimized both for solving checkout abandonment as well as any payment conversion issues. And the top 2 ways of doing that is localizing your checkout flow for the shopper's region, making sure that it's designed in the local language, they're able to pay with their local currencies and payment types, and then making sure all of that carries over to mobile as well. Subscriptions, we think of this as channel, business model, however you want to think about it, but really anything that was once sold as a one-off purchase, there's somebody out there that's adopted a subscription model for how that should be sold. So whether you're going to Target or Amazon or really any major e-retailer and you're buying household items, cleaners, whatever it is, you can have that delivered to you on a daily, weekly, whatever basis you need. And for businesses, that's generating recurring revenue, reducing the urge to price compare across merchants, and delivering more value through that convenience. So if it's not something that you've considered, know that it is a common feature now and for really any types of product and services. When you're looking to implement it, things that you should consider from a payments perspective, you want to make sure that the subscription engine can handle the business model that you want to implement, charging customers on whatever frequency and interval, upgrades, downgrades, coupons, whatever business model you want. Make sure that your payments partner can accept it before you go to market. Account Updater is a must-have tool that is surprisingly often overlooked. That really makes sure that when you're charging customers for subscriptions that you're using the most up-to-date account information. So using Account Updater, even if the customer's credit card has been reissued because of fraud or reissued for a new expiration date, you'll automatically be able to get that new information and charge it without having to contact the customer. And then, a couple other things to think about. One is automated reminders. Keeping the dialogue open with your customers, letting them know when their next charge will be to avoid any unexpected charges and disputes. And then always think about, again, what payment types your shoppers would want to be using. So if you're accepting ACH or SEPA or something other than credit cards for one-time payments, you should make sure that it's also available for subscriptions as well. I think probably the highest growth business model opportunity that we're seeing is marketplaces or platforms that are integrating payments. And what I guess the reason for the high growth is that there's a relatively new payments innovation that's part of this Generation 3 concept I talked about earlier, which is we call it split payments. So if you have a marketplace or a platform, say you have a mobile app that links dog owners with dog walkers, and you want to process card transactions, there's a capability now that would allow you to automatically split each payment so that you as the platform take a commission on each sale and the rest of the funds are paid directly to the dog walker or service provider. And businesses in all kinds of industries are thinking about how they can adopt that kind of model to get paid faster and also simplify the payments to all of the parties that are on their platform. And now it's an area where payment providers are really stepping up and playing a more active role in facilitating those types of transactions. Virtual terminal, this is the tried and true solution for taking orders over the phone. I mean, it's pretty straightforward, but something that shouldn't be forgotten, especially if your demographic is one that prefers customer service and interaction and sales support during the process, making sure that if they are talking to a support representative about a product before they purchase, that they're able to then provide payment information over the phone. All right, I'll try to move a little bit quickly. We're only on number 2. Global acquiring banks. I mean, I did mention it earlier, but this is really the critical infrastructure for processing cross-border payments. If your customer has a card issued in the EU, it's much more likely to be accepted if you process it with an acquiring bank that's also in the EU. Not every provider has acquiring bank relationships in every region. So again, just take a look at your customer traffic, see where their cards are issued, and then make sure that your payments provider has acquiring relationships in the most common regions for your business. Global payments, again, a key part of optimizing your checkout flow for checkout abandonment and payment conversions. So here you might be able to tell more based on IP address or geolocation if it's a mobile device, understanding where your customers are physically located and making sure that you're offering the payment types that will be most familiar to them. And of course, the currencies and the language should also be available.
And don't forget about the wallets.
Yes,
right?
yeah. I think it's especially in the U.S. we're seeing rapid growth of wallets like Apple Pay, Google Pay. PayPal's always had a very strong presence, and that we see that continuing in the future. But for certain merchants, Visa Checkout and MasterPass are also becoming a significant part of the customer experience. Fraud prevention and chargebacks. So again, the fraud and chargeback problem will vary by industry. Some higher risk industries will be more prone to chargebacks than others. But really, if you have a form on your website where someone can enter a credit card information, that in itself, unfortunately, is an opportunity for fraud. So people will see that form, they'll have stolen credit card information, and if anything, they'll try to use that form to validate that the cards they've stolen are still good. And that's really, regardless of industry and product, if someone can use your website to get immediate feedback if a credit card is valid, that people are going to try it. So it's important to have fraud prevention that operates in real time and can identify that and stop those attempted orders before they're processed, knowing that if you do accept those transactions, they will turn into a chargeback. If you're operating in the EU or other regions where 3D Secure is popular or mandated, definitely make sure that you're compliant with that. It's another effective tool for reducing fraud. And then for the broader chargebacks use case, if it's actually true fraud, there's not really much you can do to defend yourself after you've accepted the transaction. But for what we call friendly fraud, cases where customers claim they never received the goods or service, or that it wasn't delivered as intended, or it was damaged, it's important to have a chargeback solution that makes it easy for you to defend yourself, dispute chargebacks that aren't valid, and make sure that you're recovering revenue wherever possible. And then bringing it all together with payment analytics. I'll focus on the two big ones, which I would say is the reconciliation reporting and payment conversions. So the reconciliation is, how easy is it for you to understand the deposits you're receiving from your payment provider and know what transactions are included, and just how long is it going to take you to understand and reconcile each deposit. And then payment conversions is the proof that your payment provider is performing to the standards that you need. And having things like the global acquiring network will help, but being able to see the data for payment conversions lets you know that there aren't any open issues. So knowing that all of your cross-border traffic and your different payment types and your different ticket sizes are all converting successfully at an acceptable rate, it's important to be able to measure that. And then it's also good to think about how the data is going to be delivered. So is it something that you have to request a report and it's sent to your email, or is it available real time online, or is it delivered from an API for automating with your other reporting systems is another important factor.
Cool.
So all right. we made it through the top five. I'm going to turn it back over to Kim to talk about BlueSnap's all-in-one payment platform.
Yeah. So thanks, Mike. I think that's really helpful. We built our all-in-one payment platform to help any business accelerate commerce. So the main value of our platform is it helps you increase revenue and reduce costs, so that all of this stuff is built in, so there's less integration work on your end. You can get to market faster, and you can kind of pick and choose what you need when you need it. So, Mike mentioned quite a few of these things. So these are kind of the 5 ways to accept payments that we offer within our platform. I won't walk through all of them, but these are super critical for businesses trying to capitalize on that growth in the market today. The other piece to our solution that is really valuable, it can really help, are the built-in products. So all of these things come with the platform built in. So starting on the left and moving around to the, I guess counterclockwise. So the acquiring banks that Mike mentioned are essential for trying to capture more sales globally. So, and then with the intelligent payment routing technology that's built into our solution, we're going to make sure that those payments are routed accordingly, so you have the best chance in better payment conversions. The global payment types and currencies, those are all built in, so from everything from ACH to SEPA, and then all the kind of other alternative payment types that global shoppers are looking for when they go check out. The e-wallets, as we mentioned, are critical as well. So Visa Checkout, MasterPass, PayPal, Apple Pay, and Google Pay is coming. Those are built into our platform so that you can turn those on as you need them. There's no additional cost for those. It saves you integration time in management, right? So once we handle that for you. And also the new W3C is the browser wallet that is out. We also have enabled that as well. Our fraud prevention and risk management solution is built in. We partner with Count, Ethica Verify, and Cardinal Commerce to make sure that you have the most, world-class fraud prevention in our platform to help you, stop fraud, but not sales. And then chargeback management from Chargeback 911 for that dispute automation can really save you some time and cost. And payment analytics in the mobile app so that you can, get the insights into your business and make, good business decisions on, where you can, put more marketing dollars or, where you're going to spend and grow your business. We also have over hundreds of partner integrations. So depending upon whether you're using any of these solutions today, this is just a sample. You can, no need to do any additional development work. You can just, start accepting payments with these integrations today. So let's look at a use case. So this is an actual, a real use case. So our, this example was a merchant that came to us that had built had connected to 5 gateways to sell into all of these different markets. So from the US to Latin America, and then they needed alternative payments to reach global shoppers. So they had those kind of 5 gateway integrations, and then they had additional payment integrations as well so that they could have marketplace functionality. They needed better reporting, so they built that, and they wanted to do invoice payments. So basically, this can get really complicated really, really quickly and become really cumbersome to manage. So that's really the reason we built the platform, so that all comes together under one solution to increase revenue and save costs. So that's what we had planned for you today. I think we have a few minutes for questions. I saw a few come through, but if you have any other questions, feel free to submit them in the chat. I'm trying to find my mouse here. It's disappeared from the screen. Oh, there it is. So go ahead and submit questions in the chat. We have a couple that came through. So Mike, let's cover e-wallets. So we talked about that it doesn't cost more. Can you explain what that means?
Yeah, it's a common misperception that there's an extra fee associated with the wallets. That's not true. So if you're accepting credit cards and then you also want to add something like MasterPass or Apple Pay or Google Pay, there's no additional fee, and any transaction will be priced at whatever your processing rate is, depending on if it's a credit card or debit card.
So card not present rates too.
Card not present rates.
And then another question came in about, looks like they operate in 3 regions today. How many merchant accounts would I need?
That would depend on your payment provider. With BlueSnap, one of the cool features of how we've built out our acquiring bank network is that it's all managed through one BlueSnap account. So you get one login and one access point for your BlueSnap account, and then whether you're accepting payments in one region or 10 regions, one currency, 100 currencies, whether you're getting deposits from BlueSnap in one currency or 10 currencies, it's all coming through that one BlueSnap account that has consolidated reporting, so that it makes it much easier to manage than some other gateway providers.
Awesome. Okay. Those are the questions. So I think we're done. So thanks everybody for joining us today. And as I mentioned, the recording, I'll be sending that around by the end of the week. So keep an eye out in your inbox for that. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, everyone.